Flights not included, so we all booked our own flights. We were added to a Facebook group, so lots of us booked onto the same flight. We arrived in Beijing and a coach picked us up. We did have to wait at the airport for a few hours for a few more groups of people to arrive, just because it's easier for them to pick us all up at once. You spend your first week in a university. Ours was in Beijing, and I'm pretty sure they're all in Beijing, but on the website it does say a major Chinese city, so I can't be certain. At the end of the first week, you find out where you'll be flying off to and what age you'll be teaching. You won't find out before this, so don't try and email them and ask. So the first week involves a few lessons. The first lesson everyone turned up to. By midweek, it was about 50% turnout, as you weren't required to attend. The lessons were mostly Mandarin and teaching method. You had evenings to yourself to go out and explore Beijing, go to the pub or whatever. A lot of people said they regretted not looking around Beijing more before being flown out, so I would highly recommend spending the time exploring. You also have a day where a coach takes you sightseeing, which is pretty cool. The day ends with an acrobatic show, which is absolutely amazing. And I would say we went to see all the major Beijing sites on our own, like in the evenings, and I didn't spend more than £10 a day, so it's very, very cheap. You get a meal card whilst you're at the university and you share a room. These groupings mean nothing though, so you won't necessarily be with the person you're sharing a room with. At the end of the week, you're given your places and you're flown off anywhere between immediately after being given the places and 3 days or more if there's complications. I was one of the youngest on the internship at 18 and the oldest were in their 30s. Schools range from kindergartens to universities and some are after school prep schools. Some schools give you the chance to work extra hours to earn more money. Not all of them do though, so you can get a tutoring job on the side. However, a lot of people found their hours were long enough already and in the end they didn't want to get another job. Love tefl say you can't, but they're not watching you, so they can't stop you. Just if you think your school will not like you tutoring, either if you really don't want to risk it, don't get a job, or don't let them find out. You're flown off to your placement. In my group, I think the placements were in Foshan, Guangzhou, Beijing, Weihai, I have no idea if I said that right, Guiyang, Chengdu, somewhere near Shanghai, and Tianjin. And some people were given Chinese speaking assistants to fly with them. I was actually flying on my own and I got a lady to very badly guide me through the Beijing subway, like to the airport. I would have been better off on my own. I know she was trying to help, but she really didn't. She got us lost a few times. I then had to catch the plane on my own. I was in a pair, so only 2 of us were sent to Chengdu, and my partner was delayed a few days because she was getting the train because she was ill. I will say now that when you're given your placements, the chances of swapping are very low, so you need to be adaptable. Apparently our year was very lucky and some of us got to swap, but they don't usually let you do that. I was picked up from the airport and driven to my new apartment outside of Chengdu in a place called Shuangliu, and my boss took me out for dinner, which was really nice of her. I got to my house on the 17th floor of the building, and which was terrifying by the way, and I was told I couldn't have hot water or internet till my partner got here, which was a few days later. The apartment was actually alright, apart from the fact that there was blood on my sheets and it was midsummer and my aircon didn't work. So I pretty much spent the next few days in the shopping mall across the street using their internet in the daytime, as I had no phone that worked in China, didn't know anybody and didn't know how to use the buses, and I was outside the city. I had no internet at home and I didn't want to get lost. I spent a lot of the time cleaning and disinfecting the apartment and stocking the fridge just ready for when my flatmate got here, so it was all nice. So at this point, it's actually the school you're working for in China who look after you, I think. So we're pretty sure we were given housing outside the city because it was cheap. And I had to get 2 buses to get to work, and it would usually take me over an hour to get to work and then obviously an hour back. And when you're getting £200 a month, it's very... If I missed the last bus, I had to get a taxi home. Most would bump up the prices for me because we lived outside of the city and I didn't speak Chinese, which is fair enough, I guess. Some people had pretty crap housing. Ours was actually one of the better ones, and we had a Western toilet, which was great, and it's not guaranteed that you will. I'm pretty sure some people had like housing permit problems, like some people ended up in the slums, and some people had to like go to, like, I'm not even kidding, they had to go to the police station because they got housed in like the wrong area and they had the wrong permits and things like that. At this point, if you have no problems, you're probably not going to speak to the Love TEFL much anymore. They might contact you just because they're the ones you came out with. They need to do things like just ask how you're doing and all that. So your placement will last about 5 months. You will probably have a group chat on something like WeChat, which is their Facebook, but, well, it's not their Facebook, but it's like Facebook, but better. It's amazing. You'll all arrange to meet in Harbin for the Ice Festival, which is fantastic. I could not recommend it enough, and it's like minus 30 degrees, which is an experience. They will recommend, Love TEFL will recommend a hostel for you, and they don't really arrange a trip for you, but the hostel they do recommend, it's quite nice, so yeah, I would definitely choose it. A lot of you will have a lot of problems within the first 2 weeks or so. We found that China in general was quite, like, the Chinese were quite unorganised in the nicest way possible. So you just have to stick with it. A lot of people left after the first or second week, which sucks because it felt like they hadn't really tried, and I know a lot of them regretted it, so don't do that. Stay at least like 3-4 weeks before you're like, no, I hate this. So if you have a university degree, I do not recommend the internship. If you are willing to go out on your own and you have the confidence to go out and get a job in another country where no one speaks English. In many places you can earn like over £10 per hour, like 15, and obviously it's a very cheap country, so it's a very good deal. If you go do this, you need to enjoy teaching. Trying to teach Chinese kids is very hard. It's a different culture, they're raised differently. They don't understand you if you don't speak Chinese. Generally, that's what you're there for. There's companies like I2, I think there was one called mFly or something, you can just look them up. But yeah, you really do need to like it. It's going to be your job for at least a year, so. And also you will want to take smog masks. Like, I could feel the grit in my throat, so on days where the smog was really bad, and I remember we used to judge how the smog or the fog was by seeing if we could see across the road in the morning, like from our apartment. And on a good note, I made some lovely friends, both Chinese and English, and I'm still in touch with one of my students. And looking back on it, it was one of the best experiences of my life so far. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up of what you're getting yourselves into, and Love TEFL themselves don't really say much before you go. I know some people who loved it and they decided to stay to teach English in China. Now, when I said a few people left the internship, it was actually something more or less like 15 out of 60, so it's obviously not for everyone. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I just covered the basics that I can remember, like, bothering me that I didn't know the answers to before I left. So I'm sure there's stuff